What's up, guys? Trail here, better known as Budget Bill, and this is your third stimulus check update and stimulus package update for Wednesday, January the 27th. Good morning, everyone, and happy hump day. We are halfway through the week and we are nothing but short of good news. Today we want to talk about how Congress is pushing to get those $1,400 stimulus checks out to the American people. Also, the government now wants more people to buy their groceries online. And we also have an update on the minimum wage increase to $15 per hour. Now, those are just some of the topics that we are going to cover today, but if this is your first time to the channel, hey, welcome and glad to have you. On this channel, we talk about finance, real estate, credit cards, and stimulus update news. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the like button for me if you enjoy this type of content. It doesn't cost you a single dime for me to bring this information to you, and all I ask is for a simple press of the like button, as it really helps out the channel. Now, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. What's up, everyone, and I appreciate you guys clicking on this video. Right now, we are hoping and waiting that Congress doesn't take forever in getting another stimulus package passed. Biden has introduced his $1.9 trillion package that includes another round of economic impact payments. These payments are proposed to be around $1,400 per individual and $2,800 per couple. Congress is working on passing President Biden's pandemic-related proposals, and so far, he has already signed executive orders to extend the eviction moratorium and the foreclosure moratorium through the end of March. And he also signed an executive order to increase the unemployment boost from $300 to $400 starting at the end of March, and to be extended through the end of September. And then last week, he signed an executive order to streamline the stimulus checks to Americans to allow for faster delivery, as most of you have experienced a delay in receiving your $600 stimulus checks. Those checks went out at the end of December, and millions of Americans are still waiting to receive theirs. So many people have stated in the comment section that you are still waiting to get your second stimulus payment. So this new executive order should help the process for the third round of stimulus checks that may be coming in either February or March. Now, if you haven't received your $600 stimulus check by now, you can always go to the IRS.gov's website and click on the Get My Payment option to check the status of your stimulus check. I will also have a link in the description for you. Now, Congress is working hard towards getting the third stimulus package signed into legislation, but it seems to have a few challenges. Even though the Democratic Party has control of both chambers, President Biden wants this bill to be bipartisan, and he wants the full support from both chambers. Now, Biden said that he is willing to negotiate on the proposal, but he wants it to be swift and very quickly. President Biden understands how much the American people need another round of stimulus relief aid and wants to agree on a package as quickly as possible. But some people in the Senate have questions and concerns around the items that are included in this stimulus package bill. For starters, the GOP are concerned about the new stimulus checks that could go out to higher earning Americans, which is why the GOP senators have proposed the idea of making the stimulus package to be more targeted and for the people who actually need it the most. Now, even though a few Democrats have concerns with the stimulus package as well, which means that they may not have enough support overall, lawmakers from both sides are complaining about the minimum wage increase as well as other parts in this plan. They are pushing for more changes to the bill before it is ready to be voted on. Some lawmakers suggest that more than 200 items need to be changed and or added to this bill. And if that's an accurate statement, it actually may take at least 2 weeks to negotiate those particular changes. But meanwhile, the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, wants to fast-track Biden's stimulus plan and have a vote on this bill by the end of this week. She states that the bill will be ready and the House will be ready to vote on it. If, and that's a very big if, the Senate and the House are able to approve of the virus relief plan by the early next month, a third stimulus check could go out by the end of February. That's totally possible, but like I said, both chambers need to agree on this bill. Considering Biden is willing to negotiate with Republican lawmakers, my assumption is that more changes will be made and our chances of getting a third stimulus check gets pushed back to at least early March. And also considering our history in dealing with these lawmakers from both sides, I would only expect that their differences may linger on far past our February timeline, which is why Bernie Sanders is calling to use the reconciliation option to pass this piece of legislation without the Republican support. This is something that has been done in the past, but not liked by many from the opposing side. But we still have a long way to go, so let's just see what changes are presented for change in the coming days and whether or not the House passes this bill this coming Friday. I will keep you guys posted on any updates that I receive. In other news, since the recent wave of virus cases has been reported, the federal government is now calling on Americans to start ordering their groceries online. The government wants more Americans to stay at home and buy groceries online to prevent the need from exposure of others at local supermarkets. One thing we fail to remember is that not all adults and or children can actually wear a mask, or a single parent with a sick child may be forced to take their child with them and risk the chances of catching the virus. Grocery shopping can put your family at risk, but for some, they have no other option but to take their children with them to the supermarkets, which is why the push for online grocery shopping has increased since the pandemic. The problem with this recommendation by the government is that people on SNAP food stamp benefits can't afford to order their groceries online. For starters, some people receive little money from the SNAP program to cover the essential foods, and then depending on what type of service they use, you may have to pay for a delivery fee and or actually offer a tip. So this option for SNAP recipients is not a good option. Right now, there are currently about 38 million Americans receiving SNAP food stamp benefits, but only 1.4 million people have been able to purchase food online. The USDA began allowing SNAP recipients to shop for food on the web under a limited pilot program. This program is called the SNAP Online Purchasing Pilot. The program is available in 47 states, but it is limited to which stores actually accept SNAP benefits or the EBT card. Some of the more common stores that are accepting this program are stores like Aldi, Amazon, Walmart, ShopRite, The Fresh Grocery, H-E-B, Carly C's, and Wood Supermarket. But depending on where you live, these stores may not be an option for most people. But for majority of Americans, online grocery shopping may not be the best option, considering some services cost $15 for delivery fees and the price of groceries has almost doubled. Most SNAP recipients just can't afford that option at all, which leaves them with the only one option of going to the nearest grocery food market for their essential items. Now, President Biden has called for the USDA to expand and extend the federal nutrition assistance programs to offer more money, but even then, it just won't be enough to justify the extra expense to avoid going to the grocery store. But tell me guys, do any of you on SNAP benefits order your groceries online? Or do you agree with it being costly just to do so? Let me know down below what you think about all of this. Meanwhile, President Biden is wanting to raise the current minimum wage of $7.25 to $15. Biden also signed an executive order last week telling the Department of Labor to develop recommendations on providing the $15 minimum wage to federal workers. Yesterday, the Democrats introduced a proposal to raise minimum wage to $15 by 2025. I thought that Biden was going to raise it sometime this year in 2021. I didn't really realize that this was a long-term plan over the next 5 years, and no one other than Bernie Sanders is leading the call. Bernie said, in the richest country in the history of the world, if you work 40 hours per week, you should not be living in poverty. Minimum wage must be a living wage, enabling people to live with dignity. It is unacceptable that Congress has not passed an increase in the minimum wage since 2007, which is 14 years ago. This proposal that was introduced lays out the process for raising the minimum wage. If approved, minimum wage would increase to $9.50 in 2021, $11 in 2022, $12.50 in 2023, and $14 in 2024, and finally $15 in 2025. Initially, I was all in for raising minimum wages, but after carefully researching of the possibility and the effects of this happening, I'm sort of up in the air about whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. In a booming economy and a high-end area, businesses can afford to raise minimum wages and not be affected by it. But how about the businesses in low-income areas that may have already been struggling check to check? Those businesses would crumble if they have to pay employees more than what they're having to pay right now. So many businesses out there are struggling right now due to the pandemic. And then those businesses that were already struggling prior to the pandemic have probably already fallen off by now. That's who this minimum wage increase is going to hurt. And it's a tough decision to make, which is probably why it hasn't been raised in so many years. But raising minimum wage in lower income areas could cause businesses to actually have to shut down, which would cause those areas to drop even more in the poverty level. It might be a ripple effect. Raising minimum wage could impact poverty in this country in the wrong direction. Raising it could cause businesses to work with less staff, and also businesses will be forced to raise prices, which would in turn affect the area that it's in. Now, obviously, raising it right now during a pandemic wouldn't be the right thing to do, of course. No need to kick the small businesses while they are already down. But we are talking about after the pandemic is over. If it actually gets over, considering what we're currently dealing with right now. These new proposed wages could hurt small businesses, and then the raises would cause higher consumer prices, which would cause more strains on families. So I'm not too sure if I agree with them on this particular subject, but maybe not raising it to $15, maybe raising it by $2 to get to everyone to $9.25 per hour is a better option. That's just a thought. But tell me guys, what do you think about raising the minimum wage to $15 over the next 5 years? Do you think that it is a good idea? I would love to get your take on this. Outside of all of that, that's all I have for you today. This has been your third stimulus check update news for today. If you enjoyed any of this information and found it to be useful, be sure to hit the like button for me. It definitely helps out a lot, and it tells YouTube to share this video with other people. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for me so you can be a part of this community. And hit the notification bell to be notified of each new video. Other than that, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.